Alright, Steve Velocity's back for the second video series here on Saturday. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do my wood storage shelves, which are right here in this location. Okay, so what I'm going to do is something very simple. Matter of fact, I learned how to build these particular shelves. I think it was on Wrangler Star, and he had built some really long shelves. So all I'm going to do is, I had some I think 1x2 strip or something here before. I'm going to go ahead and put 2x4s up here back in where the studs were, and let me just kind of move over here real quick. And then if you look at these, this is just some particle board that I had laying around. He used plywood. I want to see if this stuff works. I'm not going to be putting a whole lot of weight on these shelves. Mainly just small stock. If there's anything heavy, I'll put it on the floor. So what I did is I cut myself some triangles. And of course, people in woodworking know that triangles are about the strongest thing, from what I understand, that you can actually have as far as support. So I took these right here, and one of these sheets right here that I just had laying around will actually make a set of these for one shelf. I'd like to do 4 shelves, so that's 1, 2, and see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can make enough, I think, for 4 shelves out of this. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take my 2x4, and as I'm doing it, I'm going to attach these to the side. So rather than just try to explain it, I'll show you. So next is the 2x4s going. Alright, I'm back again, and I'm finding that it's easier sometimes just to do something and show the result as opposed to trying to explain it. So what you see here on the bottom, now I've got my runners. Basically this is reinforced into the studs behind the drywall, and then what I did is I took and I made triangles and screwed those into the 2x4. And then remember that it was a couple videos ago, I think, whenever I tore the long 7-foot pallet skids apart, I had all these cubes left over and I didn't know what I was going to use them for. Well, as I began to realize, these things are just as wide as a 2x4, and they fit perfectly in here, and they're very sturdy. So the particle board is probably the weakest. So like if I knew it was going to be heavyweight, then I would definitely have used regular plywood. But as it sits, I'm going to be able to stick plywood on these and bring it out probably another 6 inches, because that's 11.5 inches. So another 6, or so that's 18 inches of storage space. And I'll probably make 2 or 3 shelves. Now the thing about it is, the only weak point that I can see as I'm making these triangles is that they possibly could limit the length of the wood that I'm actually going to put on each shelf. So this is a trial and error thing, and it's sort of a test build, but you know, I've seen those guys do it with longer shelves. They have 8 12-foot shelving and possibly longer shelves. So I'm not sure how it's going to work out at this point. Best thing you can do is try something, and if it needs modification, then modify it down the road. But I'm going to go ahead and go with this style and see what happens. Okay, I'll be back after I get the shelves finished. Okay, and we're back again, and right now I've got all of the shelves finished. Okay, I decided to go with 3, and I decided to give myself more room as I went up. I do have to contend with the garage door itself. So give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and put the shelves on, and I will show you exactly what it's going to look like when I'm totally done. I decided with the bottom shelf to make it smaller. And let's see if you can actually see what I'm doing here. Alright. Okay, so I decided to make the bottom shelf like less wide because I'm going to take this workbench and I'm going to butt it right up against here. I will have access to this from the other side of the workbench. This is going to be a little bit longer, like so. These are very small shelves, by the way, but they're actually going to hold the wood that I need. Okay, and then such and such. So when this workbench is pushed up against it, I will have direct access to any wood that I need right there. So all I'm going to really do is I'm going to sand down the plywood. That's 5/8 inch plywood, and once that's done, then I can stack the wood on it. So I'll give you one more look-see after I'm done with everything. Wow, just started pouring down. Pretty much ends my my projects for the day. I mean, I can still try to do my workbench, but it's already messy in here, and how the heck would it? I think I'll just save it for next weekend. I'll be on a 4-day weekend, and plenty of time to do that. So I hope that the rain is not making it so that you cannot hear. I'll go ahead and show you this anyway. Now, I did finish the shelves. Now, these are for my wood, and this is the idea that I have. You notice that this particular shelf, let's see, the bottom shelf right here is actually skinnier. It's narrower than these shelves. They kind of overhang the table a little bit. So that's good for me, because what I can do is I can put wood down there, and I can use, you know, I have the ability to reach right up here in any one of these shelves while actually at my workbench. And then if I need to actually do anything bigger, a bigger job, I just slide this workbench right out here. And if I get a small table saw, eventually this would just be the overflow table right here. So ultimately, I'm utilizing my space as best as I can. And then my workbench is going to go right here. It's going to be a small 4-foot by 2-foot workbench. And then that's where all my tools are going to be hanging. So anyway, I like the way that I did this now. You can see that you can do a lot with particle board. I took some 120 grit to it after 80 grit, and it is tough. It actually holds my weight. I'm about 215, 220 pounds, and so that's no problem. It's gonna support my weight, no problem. I do need to say that I said Wrangler Star had built these shelves, and I learned from his channel. However, I was thinking about that, and I misstated that. It was actually Homesteadonomics on his channel. He actually built a nice long set of shelves like this, and he used different wood, but I was impressed by the way it did, and it was pretty strong. And I think that there's some appeal to the way those are done. At least to me they are. So anyway, you guys definitely subscribe. I'll continue to be doing stuff like this. And if you like this video, please like. And until next time, I will see you. And for today, I'm going to enjoy the weather. Have a great day. And this is Steve Velocity in my final video of the day. I think my last comment had been that the shelves were done and that I wasn't going to give another one, but I went ahead and got myself an overhead fluorescent light that I hung, and then I had done a couple other things which I found were cool, so I wanted to share those real fast. So first thing I want to share is I've been buying these leather wallets for 15, 20 years. I mean, they're like $9 at Walmart, and they will last 5, 6, 7 years. I think this is my third wallet since 2001. So my last one gave out, and I want to show you these. These are chains, right? Okay, so the wallets are good, but these chains I've been setting off to the side for years not knowing what the heck to do with them. And I had this fluorescent light, and I decided I was going to go ahead and hang it up. And this is what's really cool. So you get the key rings, and they fit perfectly up inside the light right here. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know you could do that. And I took those chains and some long connectors that actually went into the studs. I found them by using my magnets. I was able to find the stud with a nail, and then I hung that sucker up. And so for right now, I really can't afford to add any wiring to my garage, and all I've got is just this one section right here. So I'm really careful to not to overdo it and pop a circuit breaker. And I went ahead and found my studs, and I ran this wire right here across. And for right now, until I can actually afford to have an electrician come over here and do some work for us, I've actually got the ability to have a light here. Now I've got finally more light overhead for the woodworking part of my garage. And then of course the computer section, I've got the existing light. So also, now for me this is momentous because it's the very first time that I took, I don't know if it's called a Forstner bit or if it's the kind of bit that you use when you're hanging a new door and you're cutting the hole for the doorknob. Well, I went ahead and drilled this fan right here. The base was broken, and I had a nice piece of wood that I thought would look good under my dartboard. And I went ahead and drilled a hole in there and stuck the sucker really tight in there. Now I've got a really cool fan set up in the corner of my garage. So it's the little things, you know, stuff you have laying around. And so I'm just having a good time. Thank you for letting me share it with you guys on YouTube, and thank you for looking. And I'll see you next weekend on my 4-day break, because that's when I'm finally going to get my final workbench done, and then I can really start fine-tuning how I put my tools up. So Steve Velocity is out, and have a great weekend.